Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Girivardhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa, Parudikacharya, Ashtotirtha Shri Srimad Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Parudikacharya, Ashtotirtha Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Okay, there's a little. Okay. So we're beginning a new chapter, chapter 11, page 459. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 10th day of March 2020 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are beginning chapter 11, the Universal Form, page 459. Arjuna Vacha Madanungrahaya Paramam Guyam Adhyatma Sangitam Yatrayoktam Vachastena Mohoyam Vigato Mama. Arjuna Vacha. Oh, you didn't have the right page? 459? Okay. 459. Arjuna Vacha. Madanugrahaya Paramam. Guyam Adhyatma Sangitam. Yatvayoktam Pajastena Mohoyam Vigato Mama. Arjuna Vacha Madanugrahaya Paramam Guyam Adhyatma Sangitam Yatvayoktam Vachastena Moho yam vigato mama. Arjuna vacha. Madanugrahaya paramam. Guyam adhyatma sangitam. Yatvayoktam vachastena. Moho yam vikato mama. Go ahead. Arjuna vacha. Madanugrahaya paramam. Guyam adhyatma sangitam. Yatvayoktam vachastena. Moho yam vigato mama. Arjuna vacha. Madanugrahaya paramam. Guhyam adhyatma sangitam. Yatvayoktam vachastena. Moho yam vigato mama. Heather. Arjuna vacha. Madanugrahaya paramam. Guhyam adhyatma sangitam. Yatvayoktam vachastena. Moho yam vigato mama. Arjuna uvacha, Arjuna said, Matanugrahaya, just to show me favor, paramam, supreme, guhyam, confidential subject, adhyatma, spiritual, sangitam, in the matter of yat, what, tvaya, by you, uktam, said, vachaha, words, tena, by that, moha, illusion, ayam, this, vigata, is removed, mama, my. Translation. Arjuna said, by my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. Purport. This chapter reveals Krishna as the cause of all causes. He is even the cause of the Mahavishnu, from whom the material universes emanate. Krishna is not an incarnation. He is the source of all incarnations. That has been completely explained in the last chapter. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he says that his illusion is over. This means that Arjuna no longer thinks of Krishna as a mere human being, as a friend of his, but as the source of everything. Arjuna is very enlightened and is glad that he has such a great friend as Krishna. But now he is thinking that although he may accept Krishna as the source of everything, others may not. So in order to establish Krishna's divinity for all, he is requesting Krishna in this chapter to show his universal form. Actually, when one sees the universal form of Krishna, one becomes frightened, like Arjuna. But Krishna is so kind that after showing it, he converts himself again into his original form. Arjuna agrees to what Krishna has several times said. Krishna is speaking to him just for his benefit. So Arjuna acknowledges that all this is happening to him by Krishna's grace. He is now convinced that Krishna is the cause of all causes and is present in everyone's heart as the Supersoul. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So many people take this chapter that we are embarking on as kind of the climax of the Bhagavad Gita. And certainly it's the most dramatic, as we'll see as it unfolds. Arjuna, who's courage personified, nothing can frighten him, except the prospect of killing his spiritual master or his military master, instructor. And so that was paralyzing to him. But basically he's very courageous, very, very courageous. And yet what he's going to see here and what we'll read about would frighten anybody. I mean, suddenly Krishna expands, he's got thousands of faces and arms, and then he starts devouring all of the soldiers, not just on one side, but both sides, crushing them between his teeth. He's got these blazing eyes. And Arjuna, at first he offered these prayers, but then eventually he says, well, who are you? He doesn't recognize him as his old friend, as Krishna. So but his motive in doing this, as Prabhupada explains here, is that he has no need or desire to really see this, although he says that. But he wants to establish Krishna's divinity for all time, for everybody. And most people, they, if they think of God at all, they think of him as all-powerful, and, the Western tradition is a vengeful God, because they know that they're sinful. So they say, he's going to punish me, maybe I can get a little relief, please forgive me. And so that's the mood. It's one of like awe and reverence and fright, actually, fear. So that's not really within the bhakti realm so much, this constantly being afraid of God. We want to formulate our lives in such a way that we can experience God's intimacy, and that we by the grace of the Lord and the process of devotional service, we eradicate not just the sinful reactions, but even the propensity to perform sin. We form our whole lives so that we'll be worthy of entering into the intimate relation with Krishna. That's what bhakti is all about. So what we're going to read here, as this chapter unfolds, is all in reverence to the nth degree. But as Prabhupada will explain in the purports, the underlying purpose, as he says right here, is to ensure that people will not accept some fake God as God. That he even says it in one purport. Okay, if you encounter somebody who says, "Actually, I'm God," and then you ask him, "Oh, can you please show me your universal form?" And then they scurry away. So, "Well, we can't do that." So that's what's going to happen here. Now, one little note here, which is interesting. There's so many dimensions of this Bhagavad Gita that's going on. You probably didn't notice, but the first line of this verse, Madanugrahaya Paramam, it's unusual in that it has 9 syllables instead of 8. The standard for the verses that we're reading, these are called anushtup, or the shloka meter. They're so common, they're called the shloka meter. They have 32 syllables. They have 4 parts, as you can see. We divided it instead of having the 4 lines in order to save pages, to make it easier and cheaper to distribute. But this first portion here, this first quarter, has 9 syllables. Madanugrahaya padamam. Madanugrahaya padamam. 9. See? And so that first word, Madanugrahaya, it's a sign of a kind of Krishna's, Arjuna's excitement. His high emotion here. And the subject, you've shown me so much mercy by revealing yourself as the Supreme Personality of God, is speaking those 4 essential verses in the last chapter, beginning 10, 8, 9, 10, 11, in which Krishna says, I'm God, everything comes from me. Those who understand it worship me with all their heart. They always think of me, devote their lives to me, they always glorify me amongst each other, enjoy transcendental bliss. And to them, I supply the intelligence by which they can come to me. In other words, he's in the heart. He wants us to come to him. And now he sees that there's an individual out of millions and millions of living entities, even trillions and trillions of human beings on all different planets. And this one is actually trying to come to me. So he provides the intelligence by which we can move to him. And then the last of the verses, he uses the same word, anugrahaya. He uses a different word, anukampa. Do you remember I explained anukampa? Kampa is trembling. It's one of the symptoms of ecstasy, is this trembling and hair standing on end and tears falling. So when one feels high emotion, whether it's ecstasy or fear or whatever it is, you may shiver, And so Krishna is shivering in sympathy with his devotee who's suffering, you see? Anukampa. What is it? Tesham evanukampartam ahama jnanajam tamaha. Out of my compassion for them, my devotees, I destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance in their heart, because he's there in his heart, our heart. So does the words Sambandha Videya Priyojana ring a little bell? Maybe. So Sambandha, this is like all of the Vedic knowledge can be divided into these three. The essence of it is in these three. The Lord Chaitanya explains this to Sanatana Goswami. So when I mention what they mean, you'll say, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sambandha is the first stage of understanding God. It means understanding ourselves as spirit, understanding the source of everything, understanding the world we live in. What is all this? What is it? There's earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, those 8 that Krishna gives in the 7th chapter. This is Sambandha Gyan. This is my energy. Oh, okay, everything is connected to God, to Krishna. And we can perceive him through his energies. That's how we first perceive Krishna, through his energies. So who the source of everything is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what our nature is, our relationship with him, and this world. How do the relationships between those, how did they come about? What's Krishna's relationship to this world? What's our relationship? All that. That's Sambandha Gyan. And once we understand that, before we even begin any practice, this is just understanding, not thoroughly and not completely, but at least a little bit, then we have faith, hopefully, to move into the abhideya stage, which is practice. In other words, how do I deepen my knowledge and my experience of this Sambandha Gyan? Because ultimately, Sambandha means my relationship with Krishna. That's what we want to understand at the end. What is my form in the spiritual world? What is my swarup? That's real mukti. What is my form and what is my function? What is my service and who am I? We're not these bodies, right? Well, then who are we? We have a form, we have senses, we have activities, but that's all covered now by the external body. So that's also Sambandha Gyan in the highest stage. But before that stage is abhideya, and that's the practice, chanting Hare Krishna, doing things and avoiding things. There's a whole list in the Nectar of Devotion. What you do and what you don't do. And the more you follow those strictly, the quicker you advance. And at the end of the whole thing is prayojana, which is pure love for Krishna, constant remembrance of Krishna, and complete absence of any desire for any material so-called pleasures, which we know that they're a source of pain. And more than just knowing it, you feel that. You feel disgusted with that. You say, this doesn't even attract me anymore. That's the sign of advancement, because you're completely attracted to Krishna and serving Krishna. So those three: Sambandha, abhideya, Sambandha, relationship, abhideya, practice, prayojana, goal. Now all of those are there in the seed form in those 4 verses we just read in the last chapter, 10.8, 9, 10, 11. Sambandha Gyan with Krishna says, I am the source of everything, everything emanates from me. That's Sambandha in a nutshell. Everything we see is related to Krishna as energy and energetic, you see? And we're part of that energy. We're a different category of energy. We're spiritual energy, higher energy, but we're still energy, prakriti, not purusha. And then, what do we do if we understand that? As Krishna says, the intelligent person who understands this about me worships me with all his heart. In other words, performs bhajan. And how? By placing his mind in me. Each age is more efficient with this age, chanting the holy name, glorifying, hearing, and chanting all these processes. Matchitta, got the prana, life energy. Their activities also dedicated to me through service. And then they enjoy by meeting together and glorifying me. Kirtan we had last night. That's, bodhiyantak parasparam. I chant, you hear, you chant, I hear. That's basically mostly the holy name, but so many other things. And what's the result? Katayantashtamam nityam tushyanti chadamanti cha. Tushyanti is spiritual pleasure, and ramanti is satisfaction, and ramanti is spiritual pleasure. Tushyanti chadamanti cha. So when more of that spiritual pleasure, we should be greedy for that. We should want that pleasure. That's what I want to get. How can I get that? And pray to Krishna. There's a verse in Namashtaka, 8 verses about the holy name by Rupa Goswami. 2 of them where he's praying for more taste for the holy name. We can do that. As you chant Hare Krishna, you can say, oh Krishna, praying to the holy name through the holy name. You can do that. Praying for what? For more attraction for you. Let me become completely absorbed. I never want to stop chanting. So that's part of the process. So then, and then Krishna says, yes, and to them who are worshipping this way, I give the intelligence for it to come to me. So this is the reciprocation. This is part of the prayojana, where Krishna reciprocates and you experience him, Anyway, so we saw that already. Arjuna was convinced. He glorified Krishna, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma. You are the supreme Brahman, you're the supreme abode, you're the supreme purifier. And then the purport after that, he says, I'm not just saying this is confirmed by Narada Muni and Vyasadeva and Asita and Devala and others. So then the Bhagavad Gita is over. Arjuna's ready to fight, right? He just no, because we need more instruction. So he says, Krishna, can you describe your vibhutis, your glories, how people can see you in this world? And then there's a whole list. You remember the whole list? Mostly it's within the Vedic culture, who's the greatest priest, Bahaspati, like that. But then he gives the general principle, which we just read in the last week, and that is, whatever you see that manifests some glory or power or beauty, know it springs from a spark of my splendor. In other words, whatever we're impressed with, immediately we think, oh, that's just a little bit of Krishna's energy, how wonderful Krishna is. Don't just get dazzled by material energy, that's Maya. But see behind that, no, this is Krishna's energy. Therefore, my Lord is so great, let me serve him better. You see the mentality. So now, the culmination here is this universal form, where Krishna definitely shows his divinity that cannot at all be imitated. And it's all for our benefit, and that will come clear as we go on. And at the end of the chapter, there's some very important verses to remember. Okay, should we go on? Text 2. Bhavapyayo hi bhutanam shutau vistarasho maya tvatta kamalapatraksha mahatmyam apichavyayam. O lotus-eyed one, said Arjuna, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity and have realized your inexhaustible glories. Purport. Arjuna addresses Lord Krishna as lotus-eyed. Krishna's eyes appear just like the petals of a lotus flower, out of his joy. For Krishna has assured him in a previous chapter, Aham Krishnasya jagatak prabhavak pralayastata. I am the source of the appearance and disappearance of this entire material manifestation. Arjuna has heard of this from the Lord in detail. Arjuna further knows that in spite of his being the source of all appearances and disappearances, he is aloof from them. As the Lord has said in the 9th chapter, he is all-pervading, yet he is not personally present everywhere. That is the inconceivable opulence of Krishna, which Arjuna admits that he has thoroughly understood. So this is going on the theme that he's glorifying for what he's already understood, and now for our benefit he's going to ask him in the next verse to show the Aishwara Rupam. Aishwara Rupam is the very opulent universal form for our benefit. Prabhupada will explain in the purport there. Evam etad yatha tattvam Atmanam Parameshwara Drashtamichami te Rupam Aishwaram Purushottama. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Purport. The Lord said that because he entered into the material universe by his personal representation, the cosmic manifestation has been made possible and is going on. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he is inspired by the statements of Krishna. But in order to convince others in the future who may think that Krishna is an ordinary person, Arjuna desires to see him actually in his universal form, to see how he is acting from within the universe, although he is apart from it. Arjuna's addressing the Lord as Purushottama is also significant. Since the Lord is the supreme personality of Godhead, he is present within Arjuna himself. Therefore, he, the Lord, knows the desire of Arjuna, and he can understand that Arjuna has no special desire to see him in his universal form, for Arjuna is completely satisfied to see him in his personal form of Krishna. But the Lord can understand also that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to convince others. Arjuna did not have any personal desire for confirmation. Krishna also understands that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to set a criterion, for in the future there would be so many impostors who would pose themselves as incarnations of God. The people, therefore, should be careful. One who claims to be Krishna should be prepared to show his universal form to confirm his claim to the people. So that's unlikely that they'll be able to do that, and therefore it'll hopefully reduce the number of people who are claiming to be God, but still, they're out there. Let's see. He wants to see the form. So the universal form, there's different forms of the universal form, there's different versions of it. In the second canto, we read about the universal form, which is, like I remember flying when I was coming in one time, from one of my flights, and we were coming over what we call badlands of, Utah and everything, just a whole bunch of land, there's no buildings or anything. And I was just looking out at that and the geology of it, it's like big time geology, big mountains here and dried up lake beds over there and everything, And I was just thinking of this universal form, how it's so, when you realize there's a person behind it, and that this is, in one sense, as Prabhupada describes it, the external body of God. You know what I'm saying? Just like we have our external bodies, but the problem is we identify with them, as ourself. But in one sense, you realize, the body is an amazing construction. It's got all of, these things working in just the right, and the 98.6 I learned as a kid, that's what it's supposed to be, when you take, your mother would give you the temperature, oh, is it 98? But no, it's 101, oh, you got to feed. I mean, 98.6, do you imagine what it takes in terms of organ to keep that temperature going? When it's hot, it's really hot, and it can cool you down. When it's cold, heat you up. That alone is an amazing thing. So this whole world, universe really, it works like that. There's so many things going on, right? Just in the right, We're learning how delicate it is by the climate change. We have been artificially doing things that are causing it to get hotter, and all kinds of things are getting out of balance. Did you know it was like 68 degrees in Antarctica? And it's summer down there. It's summer in the, that was that was unheard of. It never happened like anything like that. That's ridiculous. Antarctica is supposed to be cold all the time, right? So naturally, those big lumps of ice, which are like as big as the United States, are starting to melt. And it's just crazy. But it shows how balanced everything was, and how, a little too much of this gas and a little too much of that can throw things out of whack. Just like in your body, you eat too much and then, you just get sick, whatever, So the universal form is a way of looking, the one in the second canto, that's not just the sun and the moon, that's the eyes of the universal form, and these mountains are the bones, and the rivers are the veins. In fact, the word for vein and the word for river are practically the same. Nadi can mean river, it can mean vein, So what it does is to personalize everything. You don't just see it as some impersonal mass. That mentality culminates in the atheistic, demonic attempt to just exploit and destroy nature, for our own greedy purposes. That instead of seeing the balance and seeing ourselves as part of nature and living as light as possible in this world, which is the Vaishnava thing, rather it's destroy nature. So anyway, that's another kind of universal form. This one, as we'll read, is a little different. It's Krishna suddenly manifesting himself in huge demonstrations of suns, and as if 1,000 suns rose into the air. That's one verse we'll read about it. You can just imagine what that would be. So clearly, it's going to obviate any claimant, human being to be God. It's ridiculous, it's the most absurd thing and offensive. Okay, let's read one or two more. Arjuna says, Manyase yadi tatchakyam Maya drashtamati prabho Yogeshwara tato me tvam Darshayatmanam abhyayam. Now that word abhyayam is the most used word in the Bhagavad Gita. You'll see it. It's implied to the soul. It means inexhaustible. Notice that the word for disease is vyaya. Janma, mityu, jara, vyadi. Vyadi. You see the relation between vyadi and vyaya? Abhyaya means no disease, no degradation. Never gets old, never gets stale. So you'll see that word abhyayam crop up if you search through. I can do it on the computer easily. There's probably like 20 times it appears. Because it applies both to the soul and to the Supreme Soul, Krishna. Arjuna says again, if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. Purport. It is said that one can neither see, hear, understand, nor perceive the Supreme Lord Krishna. Prabhu? Sorry, that's the lady side. Sit over here. If you could, yeah. Not a problem. We've got a book for you and everything. It is said that one can neither see, hear, understand, nor perceive the Supreme Lord Krishna by the material senses. But if one is engaged in loving transcendental service to the Lord from the beginning, then one can see the Lord by revelation. Every living entity is only a spiritual spark. Therefore, it is not possible to see or to understand the Supreme Lord. Arjuna, as a devotee, does not depend on his speculative strength. Rather, he admits his limitations as a living entity and acknowledges Krishna's inestimable position. Arjuna could understand that for a living entity, it is not possible to understand the unlimited infinite. If the infinite reveals himself, then it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite by the grace of the infinite. The word Yogeshwar is also very significant here because the Lord has inconceivable power. If he likes, he can reveal himself by his grace, although he is unlimited. Therefore, Arjuna pleads for the inconceivable grace of Krishna. He does not give Krishna orders. Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself unless one surrenders fully in Krishna consciousness and engages in devotional service. Thus, it is not possible for persons who depend on the strength of their mental speculations to see Krishna. So this is a central point in Prabhupada's preaching and in our philosophy. When Lord Brahma, who is the most intelligent being in the universe, the first being, has 4 heads, and he's just the one with the smallest number of heads. There are other Brahmas in bigger universes. But he became bewildered by seeing Krishna in Vrindavan, playing with his friends, eating a little yogurt and fruit, playing the flute. And he said, this is my Lord? This is Narayan who gave birth to me on that lotus? Doesn't compute, right? That's a great pastime. Brahma Vimohan. So then he challenged Krishna, by stealing his calves and boys, And after one moment of his time, he came back to see how Krishna was doing, and he saw what happened. The same boys, the same calves are still there. Krishna's just taking it in stride. What happened? And so he checks on the boys, checks on his calves, in the cave, wherever he put them. And they're sleeping. So anyway, he was totally bewildered. Then then all the calves, all the boys turn into Vishnus and are being worshipped by all living entities, and it's a whole. So he gets bewildered. Then he realizes this is God, engaging in his own selected pastimes, and so he offers obeisance and offers these very, very important prayers. Chapter 14 of the 10th canto. You can check them out in the Krishna book if you don't have access. Everyone has access. Just get on your phone. So, chapter 10, chapter 14 of the 10th canto. So within those prayers is several that Prabhupada would quote a lot, and they're very important. They're all important, but super important. And one of them has to do with this. Atapite deva padamba jadvaya prasara leshanui ena ugahita evahi janati tattvam Bhagavad mahimno nachanya eko pichadam vichinvan. It's worth meditating on this verse because it's exactly what Prabhupada is speaking here. And that is that God is so great, inconceivably great. Just think of this one quality of knowing everything past, present, and future. Everything that's happening now. To try to just know everything that's happening now in this room. All the things that are going on in our own body, in our own mind, is inconceivable. What to speak of everything, past, present, and future. That in itself is just a mind blower. And that's just one quality of Krishna's. So Brahma is saying here, because he tried to challenged Krishna, and he was completely blown away. His powers were shown to be insignificant. So, atapite deva padamba jadriya prasada leshan ugrita hevihi. Only if by your mercy, by even a little drop of your mercy, can anyone understand your glories. And one has to get that mercy. In other words, the favor of the Lord. Otherwise, he's completely opaque. You can speculate over here, over there, and you can have a big brain, whatever it may be, but you won't get anywhere. Because the whole thing is beyond the realm of our senses and mind to know. Only by revelation can we know something about Krishna. Nobody can know everything about it, but even the truth about Krishna, in truth. So he says, Leshan ugrita evi janati tattvam, can know you in truth. That word tattvam comes up again and again in the Bhagavad Gita. You know, Janma karma chamedivim evim yoveti tattvataha. One who knows the truth of the transcendental nature of my birth and lila, or activities in truth, will go back to Godhead. No more birth from, you know. But you have to know him in truth, and you can only know that by Krishna's revelation. So the whole idea, that's the essence of bhakti. To be really humble and meek, you know, and supplicate to Krishna, I've lost, you know, my position at your lotus feet, and millions of births I've forgotten you and challenged you, and, you know, now I'm coming back saying, please, you know, help me to get back to that position as an atom at your lotus feet. The more that we're in that mood of helplessness, and we're calling out to Krishna from the bottom of your heart, the better we are. That's what it means in the Bible. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Those who are puffed up, you know, who are, you know, thinking that they're controllers of this world, they all get cut down. They're the last, the lowest. And those who are humble devotees who are, you know, praying for the mercy and just holding on to Krishna's lotus feet, they're the first. That's the best way to be. So Brahma is saying, you can speculate on the Vedas from here to eternity. Vichinvan. Chidam vichinvan means for a long time speculating, and you won't get 1 inch closer to Krishna. That's in the Brahma Samhita also, Pantastakut. So this mood of trying to, you know, get the favor of Krishna so he'll reveal himself. And he does so progressively according to our actual surrender. You know. And that's why simple devotees, Prabhupada gave to America. I tell you, there's this one series of DVDs, because who watches DVDs anymore, but that Yadabar produced called Following Srila Prabhupada. And he gets all this old footage, you know, that exists, and there's a lot of it. And this, of course, happened a long time ago. Many of the devotees who speak on this, because the devotees who were there, he went and interviewed them all over the world. And they watched the video and they explained what was going on. And many of them have passed away now. This thing was produced 20 years ago at least. But there's one that's really special. They're all great, but my favorite is the 1970 Ratha Yatra in San Francisco. There were not a whole bunch of Ratha Yatras in America at that time. There was only that Ratha Yatra in San Francisco. And there weren't a lot of festivals or temples all over the world. So if you wanted a big festival, you came to the San Francisco Ratha Yatra. It had gone on for 3 years, 67, 68, 69, and now this is the fourth one. Prabhupada was going to be there. He was waiting in L.A., and they were building these carts, you know, and all these devotees, you see, you know, and there's just so much chanting, and everyone looks completely blissful. And here you have young girls and boys, you know, some of them like 14, 13, they're brothers or sisters of devotees, and they're just dancing away in ecstasy, you know. And they're, you know, they've broken through so many barriers to come to that point. You don't know the background. They're getting born, you know, they're born in the movement, but they maybe have been yogis in their past life. But it's, you can see how the power of the movement. If you just get swept up in the kirtan, you chant, then you're directly perceiving Krishna in sound. And if you know, the more purified you get, the more all of the depression and the confusion just blows away. That's actually the nature of this movement. And so why is that? Because Krishna is from within the heart. He's very much appreciative to one who has given up all these things, you know, and just glorifying him. So that's what's being mentioned here. That it's not possible to understand the unlimited, infinite, by the finite soul on our own. But Krishna can reveal, because he's all-powerful. And only in that way, by getting his favor, we understand. So that's why we come to class. because we're trying to understand. Okay, so now Krishna answers, text 5. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Pashyame Partha Rupani Shatashota Sahasrashaha Nana Vadhani Divyani Nana Varnakuti Nicha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, O son of Pita, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied, divine, and multicolored forms." Purport. Arjuna wanted to see Krishna in his universal form, which, although a transcendental form, is just manifested for the cosmic manifestation and is, therefore, subject to the temporary time of this material nature. As the material nature is manifested and not manifested, similarly, this universal form of Krishna's is manifested and non-manifested. It is not eternally situated in the spiritual sky like Krishna's other forms. As far as the devotee is concerned, he is not eager to see the universal form. But because Arjuna wanted to see Krishna in this way, Krishna reveals this form. This universal form is not possible to be seen by any ordinary man. Krishna must give the power to see it. So, it's going on in this theme. Okay, he doesn't really want to see it, and it's not going to help us to see it, but he's going to show it anyway, because it's something for those who only will respect the power and the glory of God. They especially need that. So that's what it's for those persons. And there's the climax. We need another one. This one is also going. Yeah, this doesn't stay. It's cheap. So I'll have to buy a new one, and hopefully get reimbursed. $20. Maybe I should take up a collection from the Sunday feast. And we'll get one. Yeah, that's good, but not too good because it's going to get broken eventually. So now Krishna responds, and he'll say in the next one, "But you can't see me with your present eyes." He has to give special eyes. So this is part of the theme of only by the mercy of Krishna can you see these things. My hundreds of thousands of very divine and multicolored forms. So who can even imagine seeing hundreds of thousands of things, at the same time? And this is what Krishna is going to reveal. A lot of the things that are described here, it's almost unimaginable. It's beyond. What does it mean to see 1,000 faces at once? It's hard to. It's even without the revelation. We can use our imagination. That's it. Okay, let's go on. So he's going to start listing what Arjuna can see now. Text 6. Pasyadityan vasun rudran ashvinao marutastata bahunya drishtapurvani pasyaschayani bharata. Oh, best of the Bharats. Now, when you read Bharat, you should understand it means the descendant of King Bharat. That's where you get the Bharata. And we get scion of Bharata. Scion means a descendant. So that's what Bharata means, a descendant from the glorious Bharat, for which Bharatavarsha was named. See here the different manifestations of Adityas, the Vasus, the Rudras, Ashwini Kumars, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before. Purport. Even though Arjuna was a personal friend of Krishna and the most advanced of learned men, it was still not possible for him to know everything about Krishna. Here it is stated that humans have neither heard nor known of all these forms and manifestations. Now Krishna reveals these wonderful forms. Ihaikastam jagat krishnam Pasyadya sacharacharam mama dehi gudakesha yachanyad drashtam itchasi. Now, who can remember why Arjuna is called Gudakesh besides Balaram? Anyone remember? Yeah, the conqueror of sleep. Imagine conquering sleep. It's just one of his powers. Yeah, that he does. He's able to conquer sleep. Get more done. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. That alone is like jaw-dropping. Well, how does that work? Everything that you want to see now or in the future. Purport. No one can see the entire universe while sitting in one place. Even the most advanced scientists cannot see what is going on in other parts of the universe. But a devotee like Arjuna can see everything that exists in any part of the universe. Krishna gives him the power to see anything he wants to see, past, present, and future. Thus, by the mercy of Krishna, Arjuna is able to see everything. Now, does this remind you of one pastime of Mother Yashoda's and Krishna, little Krishna? Right? So, Krishna arranged for this, right? He ate some earth. Balaram accused him. He said, this little boy, he's eating earth, to the mother, Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda says, Krishna, have you eaten earth? Have you eaten some earth? Said, no. Balaram's lying about it. Again, you know. So if you want to check, I'll open my mouth. So he says, yeah, open your mouth. So he opens his mouth. And she looks inside and she sees the whole universe. And she sees herself looking into it. You know. So what happened is, it's very illustrative because, and so her mood changed, you know. And she's saying, oh, I've been thinking this boy, Krishna, is my son, and that he's Nanda's boy, and that, you know, and now I realize he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But as soon as she started feeling like that, Krishna drew his Yogamaya curtain again. He didn't want her to feel like that, you see? Because he is enjoying that intimate maternal mood. And that's bhakti. This showing the universal form, this is to, you know, put people, you know, the conditioned souls, to impress them that, oh, you know, I better learn more about God. You know, in other words, most people have to get that, and actually, a lot of people don't. And so he appears as death to take everything away, you know, and the punishment goes on. The lessons have to still be learned. But we don't want to see Krishna like that. But sometimes for people in general, it's important, and that's the whole idea here. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll adjourn. Nato mam shakyase drashtum anenaiva svachakshusha divyam dadami te chakshu pashyame yogamaishwaram. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Purport. A pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with two hands. A devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind, but with spiritual eyes. To see the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna is told not to change his mind, but his vision. The universal form of Krishna is not very important. That will be clear in subsequent verses. Yet because Arjuna wanted to see it, the Lord gives him the particular vision required to see that universal form. Devotees who are correctly situated in a transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by loving features, not by a godless display of opulences. The playmates of Krishna, the friends of Krishna, and the parents of Krishna never want Krishna to show his opulences. They are so immersed in pure love that they do not even know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In their loving exchange, they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the boys who play with Krishna are all highly pious souls, and after many, many births, they are able to play with Krishna. Such boys do not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They take him as a personal friend. Therefore, Shukadeva Goswami recites this verse. I'll skip the Sanskrit in the interest of time. Here is the Supreme Person who is considered the impersonal Brahman by great sages, the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotees, and the product of material nature by ordinary men. Now these boys, who have performed many, many pious activities in their past lives, are playing with that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 12, 11. The fact is that the devotee is not concerned with seeing the Vishwarup, the universal form. But Arjuna wanted to see it to substantiate Krishna's statements, so that in the future people could understand that Krishna not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually presented himself as such to Arjuna. Arjuna must confirm this because Arjuna is the beginning of the Parampara system. Those who are actually interested in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who follow in the footsteps of Arjuna, should understand that Krishna not only theoretically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually revealed himself as the Supreme. The Lord gave Arjuna the necessary power to see his universal form because he, the Lord, knew that Arjuna did not particularly want to see it, as we have already explained. Okay, we need to adjourn. And I'm not going anywhere, so I'll be back tomorrow for class. You heard. He told you. Yeah. That's why we call it the coronavirus, because it's kept me here. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.